and hope everything is going well. That's what we're hoping. But today we're going to be going over the DTT framework, specifically the yearly session and the intraday sessions. So what I want to start off with, really, I do want to start tape reading first, and look at the session today, as we do have some interesting stuff at hand today. And with our huge new week opening gap down, and how I specifically use DTT to, um, you know, take my trades. How can I use time to take my trades? And the DTT framework overall, I think that it is one of the most important things, or I should say, time is one of the most important things for me, for myself, when it comes to trading. And we already have some questions coming in here, which is fantastic. Poppy Chulo, very great name there as well. What are those boxes with the 50% line? And I'll go ahead and kind of go over that in just a second. That is our lovely AMRP levels. And we'll kind of dive into that, and I'll show you guys here. There was multiple examples today that were actually used, and I mean it's really fantastic here with what we have going on with this beautiful indicator. And if you guys don't know, this is the indicator that a lot of people are asking. What indicator is that? This is the collaboration indicator with the Toodegrees team, with Tu and Josh here. Really, really great stuff. And if you guys are interested, you know where to grab it. It's in the cord, right? There's a couple links in here that you guys can go and really grab this. And I'm sure you guys will want this right after we kind of go over some important stuff here. So, Josh, what's up, brother? Love to see you in here, man. Thank you for having me. Let me see. I'm trying to make sure that I'm not missing out. But yeah, you do need the indicator to get these levels. You do need the indicator. But let's go ahead and get started here. I mean, I don't want to hold you guys for too long, but just to show you guys, I mean, we're gonna do a little tape reading here. I think it's actually some perfect timing. I'm gonna get rid of the weekly indicator. We do have a weekly indicator as well, so that should be pretty interesting to go over to after. But very large new week opening gap we have here, and just to show you guys, I'm just gonna pop this on really quickly so I can just draw the box with no issue, and we'll go ahead and extend this out. So that's currently what we're digging into, right? Prices traded lower. We have created some relative equal lows here on the higher time frame. We actually traded to a previous new week opening gap, and then we're pushing into the current one here. So what I love to do when it comes to trading DTT, obviously your higher time frame bias is the number one most important thing, right? But what I love to use as well is OHLC. I use SMT in my trades, and DTT allows for a framework for time, so you can time your trade, so you can be patient, right? So you can understand when price is going to make its move. When is that injection of volatility? When do we get that move? And this is what DTT is here for, right? Which model or which time is accumulating? Maybe this a specific time is distributing. Maybe a specific time is manipulating, right? It's all AMD in a smaller framework, right? Where we've divided everything up to make it much easier for you guys. So this here, yes, I see somebody in the chat. This is the Big Ben model, right? And this is actually a perfect example that I want to show you guys here. There's a couple models. So starting from here, there's obviously some models that we have going on here. And this is our London session model. I don't want to go too deep into it, but I want you guys to take a look at what's going on here, right? Here and here. If anybody in the chat can tell me what is going on here, what do we call this? What do we call this? What's going on in this range here? AMD, right? This is our beautiful AMD. Okay, thank you. And what I love, and this is very common with our ICT macros and our ICT times, and what for those who are ICT traders, and as I am myself, we have a beautiful consolidation here, and as Josh just mentioned, raid reversal, right? Raid and reversal, I should say. So we have our beautiful move, okay? We have a move down and then a huge distributive move back up. Now, within these times and these models here, for example, Big Ben, and then we're going into our DTT times, right? Sometimes you won't get these larger moves until a specific time is met, or the market is ready to distribute or make its move to its next target, right? And this is what I love about DTT here, right? For example, these models here, they're not really making their move, right? We're seeing that accumulation here, right? And then here we see that manipulation and this larger distribution into our New York session. So how do I know when price can potentially reverse, right? Obviously, we have red folder news sometimes. That's very important, right? What if there is no news? What if there isn't that juice that we can get, right? This is where DTT comes in, and this is where you can get those times and where you can understand when that possible pivot in price may be, or that injection of volatility, as we call it in our community. That's where all that plays in. Okay, so this is where I love, and this is actually one of my favorite models, which we'll get to in just a second. So here at our 9:30 open, we have a really clean move up, taking this high out, and then a move back down to take out all of this low resistance liquidity and these relative equal lows that have been engineered during our London session and our Big Ben model here. Okay. I am still bullish, of course. I want this new week opening gap to get filled in a bit, right? As we saw, there was a couple PDRAs here as well, and we traded to those higher time frame PDRAs and then finally distributed. Let's go ahead and dive down deep into this range here. Let's take a look at our Judas first and our model prior, or I shouldn't even say model prior. This is our 9:30 to our 9:55 times. Okay, so our Judas model starts at 9:55 and ends at 10:20. Okay, here we have our AMRP levels. I know somebody asked in the chat. Our AMRP levels, just to kind of pop up the box here, just so you guys can see this option here. Okay, this is our average model range probability. Okay, so what does that exactly mean? Here we are grabbing the average range in which price can trade to based on this specific time range. So it's a time-based range from 9:55 to 10:20, right? And this is all historical data. We're looking back at that data based on this specific time, and we're drawing we're drawing a specific level, right, to the sell side and to this buy side. And this gives us an area where we can use, and we can kind of say, okay, I want to see if price can trade to this range at this specific time, right? Usually within this entire time, we'll see trades into these AMRP ranges. Now, how do I know which one it'll trade to? That's where your higher time frame bias will come in, okay? And really quickly, I just want to make sure that everybody understands this. We do have a model look back for these AMRP ranges. So these ranges will vary in size. Sometimes they'll become much bigger, right? And it all depends on what the previous models have been doing. So I have it to 3 now, right? The model look back is at 3, meaning it is looking back at this specific time 3 times, right, for its data, and then it's plotting that there. Now, I want to make sure that everybody also understands is that you can change this time, right? You could change this number for these times, and I really like to use 6, right? And it's because it is very accurate, especially when it comes to, we have that fine line between when there's higher volatility or when there's less volatility. So when there's a lot of volatility in the markets, what ends up happening with these AMRP ranges is we can see that they vary a ton, right? We'll see that it's very large or it can be very small, depending, of course, if there has been volatility present within those specific times or those specific models, okay? If we go ahead and take a look here, I'm going to leave 6 on because that's what I usually do. We trade into our Judas AMRP right up here, as well as our SIBI here, okay? So we're using everything in Confluence, okay? We want to make sure that we're using multiple things for our trading. When it comes to DTT specifically, you can use any strategy you'd like. ICT is what I use, okay? Trade into our SIBI. 9:55 is when our Judas starts. Okay, that's our time model here. And we push all the way down into all of the sell side here into a higher time frame PD rate. And if we look at our AMRP here, the Model 3 look back was beautiful on Judas, but we can see that 6 also works as well. Then what my favorite model does today is it presents itself with an absolutely beautiful injection of volatility, 1020. This is the start of Model 11, okay? Spot on today. Very random time where price bottoms out and it reverses. You guys can see that, okay? And it starts heading towards our buy side here, low resistance liquidity. I mean, we already have a setup here in itself. Our low resistance liquidity run here. And then we actually have our very clean inversion. Let me point that out right over here. And we can see how we have that inversion. Little tap into that, actually our AMRP level here and our inversion, and then we take off. Okay. And what are we doing? You know, what are we looking for next, right? When it comes to these times, there's multiple times, 1020, 1034, 1044, and 1055 are a couple of times during our Model 11 time here. Okay. And what we're looking for is we're looking for an injection of volatility or continuation of time, right? Or we're really expecting to see if price can kind of halt out. For example, if we have a large move here at 1020, what a lot of the times what happens is we have that move, 1030 can potentially offer us a discounted move, right? Or it can give us an injection of volatility and continue. Okay, so it all depends on where price is, what price is doing. For example, if we are really touching our, in this case, our new week opening gap CE price, what tends to happen is you'll have a reaction here. With time, you can see a pivot, right? Obviously, we didn't get a larger retracement in this case, okay? But that's how these inner cycle lines work, as we call them, okay? Same thing with these other times. You're looking to see a continuation. I mean, what we have going on here is, you know, all this larger move here for 1020, and you really want to see a continuation at least to the top of this new week opening gap to fill it, right? So let's take a look. I don't want to talk too much here, but let's take a look at our Model 110. This is our time distortion model from 1149 to 1235, okay? And then this is our Model 1001 from 1235 all the way to 1409, which is kind of what we're taking a look at here. So ideally, I still want price to push up higher. Okay, I want to see that move up to this buy side up here. And as you can see, we are in our AMRP box right here. This is actually, I forgot to mention, this is the boxes that you guys are seeing. That is a deviation off our AMRP level. So if I turn that box off, we can see here in just a second, right? We don't have that box there. We just have our AMRP level. When we add that deviation on, it gives us an entire range to work with, okay? And you can actually draw deviations off these AMRP boxes. That's some sauce there as well. So just want to point that out there. Just want to make sure if everybody is still in the chat, please drop a 1 in the chat if you guys are still here with me. I would love to see some activity in here. Just want to make sure everybody is active. Beautiful. Love to see it. All these ones in here. Make sure you are taking these notes. I know I'm kind of going fast, but yeah. Does anybody have any questions here so far? Beautiful, beautiful. Love the ones. Do you use root candles much? Root candles are my favorite to use in DTT. And we'll kind of take a look at that here. So I use root candles. I usually extend them. Root candles are used as a premium and discounted area, similar to PD arrays. But what I love to use, the word I love to use for root candles, they are used as hidden liquidity, right? So it is an area where price can hold. It is an area that price is interested in. It wants to draw to. For example, let's do some tape reading here. If we take a look at Model 1001, 1235 root candle, absolutely beautiful so far. We do see some body closes below, but we can see that this entire candle here has been putting in some work. I'll just draw the entire candle since the body is small, right? This is the root candle for the entire session. You can also draw it all the way across, right? Look at that. Look how beautiful that is. Absolutely beautiful. So that's the range that we're looking at. And actually, if I can go to the indicator here, you have the box option for root candles. So it'll automatically draw a box for you around the entire candle. Take a look at that. Here's our 1110 root candle. Look how price has been bouncing off in that range. 1034 root candle. So very beautiful, right? Also random that price is trading to those areas, right? But I see some comments here, and I know Josh just went over the weekly model. Thank you for that. Thanks a ton. But usually for the weekly model, what I use again is I use a look back of 6. I think it's a great in between I guess number that you can use, and that is specifically for me when I've been back testing. I find that works very well for me. So with our AMRP level here, I just kind of want to point this out before the move happens, or before we get a larger move here. I am very interested in this 15-minute BISI. I'm wondering if they'll manipulate it down here before pushing price up higher. Going back to the 1 minute, there is a couple of fair value gaps here that we are using so far, and I'm going to get rid of this box here for our root candles just because I want to keep things a bit cleaner. So ideally this would or should hold here if price wants to continue to push up. Otherwise it'll take these lows out here, and there's a relative equal low down here, and I would really much so prefer for price to trade down into this range and potentially into this AMRP level if we don't get that move up. And I do want to point out, from model 110, from 1110 all the way to now, this has been a higher time frame consolidation. So we can expect a pretty decent move here for our PM session. Keep an eye out for what I just mentioned there, because, you know, it's important, right? If we don't have these larger moves in the previous models, you're looking for your current model or your next models to provide you that larger injection of volatility. Okay, let me go over questions now. I think I've talked enough here. I have a question about roots as well. How do you use them when there's a print above, below AMRP levels, or within them? That's a beautiful question. I love that question. So first thing is first is you want to understand how root candles are used, right? As I mentioned prior, root candles are used as an area for a potential target, right? It's used similarly to a PD array, okay? Meaning it's almost like an imbalance, but it is hidden liquidity that is essentially put into time, if that's how you want to say it. I'm trying to really just make it simple and dumb it down here, where price is trading to those root candles into those zones, seeking that premium or discount, or using those specific levels to give us a continuation, right? Or to essentially it is an entry as well. So let me kind of show you guys here what I'm talking about. So 953 root candle is one of my favorites, if not my favorite. We'll take a look at that right over here. How is this root candle being used? Okay, let me get rid of this PD right here. For example, price here is trading deeper into a discount, higher time frame PD array, and it is, we can see there was a wick here at this 953 root. Okay, once we reach our discounted target and into our AMRP, we see a pretty nice injection of volatility here, or a pivot in price, right back up all the way to, if we take a closer look, the body of that candle stops right at the 953 root. So we can see here that it's being used as a target, right? It is a liquidity point that we're looking at, right? Based on this specific time where price is trading to. And what typically you want to see is you want to see a nice move, or move above it, or a nice close above that specific candle, or the opening of that candle, right? And what this, similar to a PD array, right? If we get that close and we get that move, you are looking to see if we can use, or you specifically can use this range as a premium or discounted area for your trade. For example, if I see this inversion occur here, I'm obviously going to try and shoot for a long here because the setup here is amazing, right? But more importantly, you want to see after this 1020 time, are we going to get a close above this root candle? And it is in this AMRP range, right? So when it's in an AMRP range, you are looking to see if it is, if it's an area that you can use to trade as a potential take profit or a potential entry, premium discounted area, right? All these things matter. Okay, so this is very, very important. I hope I kind of answered your question there, Mivi. Um, just the basics, right? We'll take a look at another root candle here, and we'll take a look at the 1235 root, right? So that's kind of how it's used, right? It is hidden liquidity. You are using this area as a premium and discounted area. In this case, when it's under here, under the root candle, it's in a discounted range or area based on our Judas and model 11 times, right? Once it trades above that, you are in that premium. You're looking for price to trade higher to our other liquidity levels, if that makes sense. Okay. And same thing here for our other levels, right? 1235, it's holding so far, right? Same thing with 1034. So these are stacked root candles, 1034 and 1235. If I pop on the quantum indicator here, the more simpler version, we can see the root candles are extended out here. These are all stacked root candles. They're very close to each other. What does that mean? Price will bounce around these root candles a lot until a specific time. And we can see that it is consolidating here on the higher time frame. And we're looking for that larger move up. Okay? Or for me, it's up, but we have to see what price gives us. So for now, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for this to give us a continuation to our root candles up here. Okay, and of course to the top is new week opening gap is what I would love to see. 1320 to 1330, these are specific intervals I would love to use. Okay, so far I really like to use ES here as well. I want to make sure there are no prominent SMTs, and we really want to make sure and want to look at these levels here to see if there's an SMT with our DTT time. So I would love to see a continuation here at 1330, right here, okay? And so far we are wicking at these 1110 root candles. So I see a really good question here. I'll get to in just a second. And yeah, that is also a great question. I won't be trading on this live here. However, I will very much so. I'll be happy to put these trade ideas on our charts here, so you guys can see how I think and how I use DTT times, okay, and how we use DTT specifically. So ideally speaking, this setup here, and I'll really target this high up here. This is what should play out if this 1 minute fair value gap holds here and we get the injection of volatility at these times. So 1330 is a big time that I'm looking at right here, okay? And I'll leave this here, and I think that this is a pretty good starting point here for some people who are looking at DTT, okay? So I am looking for price to continue. I want to see it close above our 1110 root candle here. So I'll get rid of this indicator, right? That's another thing that you want to see. Are we going to get a close above that root candle? If not, what can we expect, right? We can expect that move down lower into this discounted range, or we were also talking about that 15-minute BISI, right? We can potentially see a manipulation there. So as I always say, play with what's given. That's what I usually do, and that's what we're doing here. Ideally, the setup that I'm looking for would be this, right? For longs, because my bias overall is going long here, right? I personally don't like looking for short setups when my bias is long. That is just me, right? So for example, another important thing to point out here is we do have a 3-minute SIBI here. If price does want to trade down into that 15-minute BISI, we can use this range here to kind of give us that setup. So if we're looking short, right, then you're looking for this 1330 time to inject volatility to the downside here, right? I hope this is making sense. My bias is long. I am looking long. We need to fill this up here, right? And that's why I always say play with what is given, right? And that's what I love about ICT is you are looking to see what price offers you. You are looking at PD arrays. You are looking at important ranges, right? Now here, let's see if we can get a close above this 1110 root. Sometimes, we'll see that it wicks above those roots and then the bodies close below it, right? That's what really matters here with those root candles. But we're looking to see if we can get that continuation to these highs up here. Very great question when it comes to root candles. Algo, how's it going? How do you suggest someone new get started with DTT? Is there a specific model you suggest where one can find confidence, grab data on, and build a foundation on with? And how do you suggest one backtest or grab data to gain confidence using DTT? Absolutely not nonsense, Algo. Great question. So that is a great question. How do you get started with DTT? So, the biggest thing, of course, is we do have a lot of free PDFs that lovely Ivan, I think he's here, has, or Nine, as I should say, has put together for the entire community, right? These PDFs will give you an introduction to these models. They give an introduction to these times. And of course, we also have an indicator, right? And we have a PDF around this indicator and how to use it. So specific models, I would highly recommend everybody write this down in your notes, please. Okay. The models I would really go over and take a look at are models 11, right over here, from 1020 to 1110. Please note this down. Please make sure you're taking notes. 1020 to 1110, model 11, and model 1001. Those two are the biggest ones I would highly recommend to backtest because they usually are very volatile and our expensive moves are usually at those times. Okay. Model 1001 is from 1235 to 1409. Okay. And of course, we have a lot. We go into very much so into depth in our DTT trading community, in our quantum mentorship. That's where we really go deep down into things and how we can take some trades. And we have recaps, we have live trading. There's a lot we do in there. There's a lot, and you'd have to be really prepared to dive into DTT when it comes to that because there's a lot of information. But kind of like what we're doing today is exactly what we do in the DTT court, right? But great question, Algo. I hope that kind of answers that there. And how do you backtest it? Literally exactly how I'm doing this right now, right? We pop on the indicator. If you don't have the indicator, you can manually pop on the times, right? The PDFs are there to give you those times and really just go back with these models and understand, okay, what's going on here? How can I frame my trades? Understand specific intervals that inject volatility, that give you those pivots in price, right? That's what you really want to look for when it comes to back testing. Okay. Now, a lot of people may ask here, would I take this long? Would I take this a long setup or a trade? Me personally, I probably would not take this long here. Is it based on your setup? If you are trading micros or if you are doing whatever you want or whatever you need to do to get your trades in the day, right? Would I take this? If it is at a specific time, for example, 1320 or 1330, if it had traded back into this and we see a nice wick, I wouldn't mind taking it. If you're trading micros, right? If you're trading with lower size, this setup would be good because look at the markets, guys. It's very volatile, right? 36 points is my stop. That's a very volatile. I mean, that's a huge stop, right? If you're trying to do minis. So I would use micros within this setup here. So far we have a little tiny pivot here above our 1110 root, but I want to see a continuation here. I want to see a close above this high to then continue to these highs up here, right? That's very important to me. I want to see close above highs after we close our root candles, okay? And notice here our AMRP level, just to point this out, we are at our AMRP plus, okay? We are overextending that area a bit. Now, is that going to matter? That's where it gets tricky, right? And I'll kind of touch up on that in just a second after I see there's a couple questions here in the chat that I'll go over. So the 1034 root is way above the AMRP. Did you expect that then to not give a mean reversion back down between those AMRP levels? That is also a very great question. Our 1034 root here is what Mivi is talking about. Okay, so Mivi is asking, did you expect this to not give a mean reversion back between these AMRP levels? So a mean reversion is when we overextend an AMRP level, and this is actually a perfect segue into what I was talking about. All right, so if I had traded Mivi right below this AMRP zone and below this 1034 root candle, what you can expect, especially if you are bullish, of course, which in this case we are, you'd want to see a mean reversion back to the 1034 root candle, right? Does that make sense? So because we have this 1034 root here, we know that this is a pretty solid, strong area, right? It's similar to a PD array. But what you're looking for is you would be using that 1034 root as an area where time and price meet, essentially, right? If it had traded below this, then this would be a valid mean reversion, and then you could say, okay, I'm looking for a mean reversion back to our 1034 root. Does that make sense? So that's kind of what I would be looking for specifically for this 1034 root. Now this one here, this AMRP zone up here, very close to a mean reversion. We're trading up into that AMRP, and then we're kind of rubber banding back down into this lower area here, and this is just price kind of chopping around here. Usually a mean reversion for me would be once you get a trade way above an AMRP level, and then you rubber band back down into whatever range that you're looking for. So does that kind of make sense there? I hope I answered your question. So if there is a root candle resting in an AMRP zone, and you overextend that AMRP, you can expect price to rubber band back into, or again, you have that mean reversion back into the AMRP level here, or your root candle here, if that makes sense. All right, so we have a nice close above this high here, and price is really taking its time. We can see that pivot here at 1330, right? We wanted that injection. Now we do have that. I don't really like how we're trading to this high. I would have wanted a stronger move here, but there was a lot of manipulation here. Our 1 minute BISI here. Now what we're looking for here is a retest of this inversion on the 3 minute, but also I want to see this 1110 root candle. I want to see us wick at this range, okay, in this range. Okay, so the 1110 root candle should continue us higher, right? There's also a 1 minute fair value gap there. I'll go ahead and leave that inversion there. So take a look at that. We already have a wick at the 1110 root. Let's see if we can get that continuation there. I'd love for that to hold. Let me see a couple more questions in here. I'll go. Thank you so much. Does that link work for you guys? I hope that works. And you guys can go ahead and go to those links to help you out. Perfect. Let me see if there's any other questions. All right, beautiful. Do we have any more questions in here? And I want to see some ones in the chat. Can we drop some ones in the chat just so I know everybody's still here and paying attention? I would love to see the ones in here. Great to see everybody here and puts a smile on my face. I love to see it. Love to see it. Beautiful, beautiful. Great, great, great. Yeah, there you go. That's the smile that's on my face right now. I love to see it. So really clean reaction here at our 1110 root. We can see how that hidden liquidity is being used, right? So that's what's going on here. And right now we do have, some of this choppy price action, but really quickly, 1340 is our next interval here. I don't know if you guys can really see it, but this is the next time that you're looking for price to give you that continuation higher to these levels up here, and up here, right? And a lot of the times we'll see crazy manipulation moves, right? Where we'll engineer buy side and then 1340 will bring us down lower into a discount. But again, as mentioned, based on time and where price currently is at, okay, 1340 should give you that continuation. All right. I love 1340. Joel, any additional discounts for 1 year subscription? And Joel, are you talking about the indicator specifically? Are you talking about the DTT Pro Plus indicator? When it comes to discounts, whatever is put up on the WAP site is what the price will be. So I don't know if there's any discounts for a 1 year subscription, but usually if you are grabbing the subscriptions, there is already a discount in itself, simply because it is obviously you have that whole year, but you're almost getting, if I'm not mistaken, I believe around 12 to 13% off if you grab the live subscription, live 1 year subscription itself. Got you. Okay, yeah. So that's what I figured. Yeah. So if you're talking about our subscription, then yeah, I hope that answers your question there. So with the yearly subscription, you're already getting a pretty big discount. And for those of you who, if you guys are not aware, we have lowered our prices, right? I just want to point that out there. The education is here, right? We're in here. I'm on live. I'm showing you guys some sauce. Okay, there's a lot of resources in the DTT community as well. So the prices have gone down drastically, right? It was 100 a month, now it's back down to 54. And we really want to give you guys that value and the 20 plus hours of content. At times it'll be even in a week, so there's a lot of content there for everybody. Okay. Beautiful so far. I'm liking this wicking here at this inversion. 1340 has come. I really would like to not see this low again. I'd like to see price push up to these highs up here, and let's see if we can get that. But if we don't get that, then we're gonna see if price can slowly gradually push up here. What's really important and what I love to do with DTT is I love to grab these interval here, okay, and these are some DTT fibs. I'm gonna show you guys this sauce here really quickly. Okay, so from 1340 to 1409, I'm drawing a fib here. These are our DTT fibs, our fib times. Okay, so our 1125, our 36, and 5625. Okay, these are very important. What this does is we can divide this 1340 to 1409 section here, and we can find more times that we can use for an injection of volatility. Our next time, 1343, 1350, and 1356. This is some sauce that most people new to DTT don't know about. These are some areas that you can use, or these times that you can use to give you that, that injection or that pivot that you're looking for. Okay. I would say please do not highly rely on those times. They're just to give you kind of like, if you are taking a trade, right? Those times do work. If price is not trading to the liquidity point that you want at these specific times, then that's when it's very, very important to kind of mark out those times. So I'm seeing a move here from 1340. If I'm long, obviously I don't like to see this move. I want to see our 1110 root candle hold. So as I mentioned, we can see a pivot at 1340. They could be engineering buy side. So what I want to point out here, mark this range. The fact that we pivoted towards the sell side here at 1340, right? I don't like this. Okay. So what I'm looking for now is I'm looking to see if price can trade deeper into this range here. Okay. Into this 1 minute BISI. And of course, if this area and this inversion doesn't hold, you're looking at that 15 minutes BISI, which is all the way down here, which we have not tapped into. And what this does and what they're doing is this leaves buy side for later. Okay, so that's what I wanted to point out there really quickly before I continue on with any more DTT stuff. But notice this, guys. Look at the pivot here, 1340. Right after that, 2 minutes after, that injection of volatility occurs, right? It's not random, right? We can see that these times offer us these moves. And so far, this right here, this is that little mean reversion that we're seeing here, right back into the AMRP level. All I do want to say is expect a larger move going into model 111, which starts at 1409. This is the end of 1001, but let's take a look and see what happens here. So as long as we hold this, we're looking for long. That's what I'm looking for. We're looking for long as we hold this. That's what I like to use. If this is inversed, you're looking at a much deeper move. DTT only works from 1 minute to 5 minute. Last time we talked a few weeks ago, it was mentioned that an update was coming. Is there a plan for an update? Gazu, great to see you in here. Love to see you. Yes, there is we are in the talks of, kind of, seeing what you users want to see when it comes to the indicator. The reason why we've left it from the 1 minute to 5 minute specifically is simply because, we personally didn't want things to get confusing, right, when it comes to time. When it comes to the root candles, the 15 minute, for example, would be great use to those, a great use for those root candles specifically on the 15-minute time frame, right? But, maybe we can get a poll going on very, very soon and see what people would love to see. We feel like the 15-minute would not be useful for those interval lines, right? However, if you guys are interested in extending root candles or whatever it may be, please do let us know and give some feedback. You guys can open tickets. You guys can let us know in these chats. I think that's super, super important. Okay. And I hope that makes sense. As to why we haven't done anything higher than the 5 minute. Yes, the 15-second models are going to be releasing. And just to point this out here, there's a nice inversion. And I really like this reaction here a little after 1340. We tapped our 13 opening price here, our PM opening price, and we're continuing to push up. So after this, and of course a close above that red right here, this candle here, I'm looking for price to continue to these highs. Lots of manipulation here. This delivery is awful. We can see with all this price action here. That's why, these DTT times will help a ton. Okay, help a ton. But yes, the 15-second models are going to be coming out. Those are pretty advanced compared to these models here, and it's just a lot quicker, right? So we'll make an announcement on when that's coming out. There's a lot of work being put on the Toodegrees end, or the 2-degree side, right? And also work being put in on our side, but that will also be coming very, very soon. We're looking to push that out to you guys. All right. So I'm looking for this high, as I mentioned, and I'm looking for a much higher move. Now, let me show you guys some sauce here. Since we're trading above our AMRP, I would love to pop on a deviation here. Okay, so we're grabbing a box from the bottom of that AMRP level. Some extra sauce here for you guys. We're drawing it to the top. You can use these levels for take profits as well. Okay? And it's very, very simple. Okay? This is a deviation in itself. I'm simply just popping on a deviation. For when we overextend that, we can use these -1, -1.5, 2 targets for, between this specific time. Usually when you go to the next time, I would highly suggest not to really focus on these levels here. Use the next AMRP time. Use the next, levels that you have, okay? Because price is also very important. Time and price work together, right? We're going to see if price can give us that push up, right? So originally I mentioned that this setup here is what we're looking for. Okay, I'm just gonna pop this back on here. Pretty big stop, which is why for this one I would use micros, right? Of course, Frank, of course. I hope what I'm saying is making sense here. If you have any questions, please do ask. And I've loved the questions here today. I absolutely love them. So now this is very important, what I'm about to say here, okay? Please do pay attention to this and note this down. Now I can see that the reaction down here gave us a really nice inversion, and we have a couple 1 minute BISIs here. I am looking for this high here to be met by what time? By 1409. Okay? Whatever model you're in, okay, if there's a liquidity target or a take profit point that you are looking for, you want to use the end of an interval or even at these specific inner cycle lines, at any of these lines, you want to see those liquidity targets be met at those times. So for me, I would love to see 1409 be met by, or excuse me, this high be met by 1409. Okay, so that's what I personally want to see, and I would love to see that move there. Okay. For those who are watching the recording, I do have some weird desktop audio. It's just a notification. So if you guys do hear anything unusual, it's just a notification on my desktop. All right. Perfect. So again, we're getting that really clean push. I want to see this high by this time. It looks like we're going to get it. Really clean move. But I love this 1 minute BISI, and I mentioned as long as this holds, we'll be seeing price push up higher as our bias is going to be long, right? And we're looking for this high up here. Frank, yes, I am with Nine in the same community. So, Nine and I run the DTT community. I'm pretty sure I've seen you, Frank, in the group, if I'm not mistaken. Unless I am mistaken. That might be another Frank. There could be, yeah, okay, never mind. It's probably another Frank. It's funny because your usernames are very similar. You guys have a capital letter at the end of the name. But yeah, I am with Nine, and there's a lot of sauce we give in the community, and you know, we're here to help you guys out. Even in the escape court, if you guys have questions, just ping me and I'll get to you guys. Any DTT questions, we're there. We're there. I hope I haven't lost you guys here. I think I'm lagging a bit. Are we good still here? Can everybody hear me? Okay. Thank God. Just want to make sure that we're good here. All right. Beautiful move here so far. I'm going to grab a deviation from this low to this high here. I am looking for this -1 to be tapped into there. And I'd love, again, this high by 1409. So if we're looking for a move back down, we just touched that 0.5. You're looking for price to continue if we trade into that BISI there. Perfect. Yes, sir, Ali. Yes, sir. No worries. Yeah, I can go ahead and go over the indicator settings. That's a great name. I'm not gonna try and pronounce that, but I love that name. So these are the general settings here. This history just means the amount of models that I'm looking back. So I'm looking back 6 models here, which is why Big Ben was showing prior. These start and end intervals, these are all turned on. Very important. Root candles are on. I am using the opening price of the root I believe that this is the most important price, but if you guys want to use the root candle equilibrium, you can go ahead and use that. The box of the root candle I have off just to keep things much cleaner, but if we go ahead and turn that on, we can see how beautifully these root candles were used today. I mean, come on, guys. Look how beautiful that is. 1235 root, right? We're trading now above the 1110 root candle. This is the entire 1 minute candle here. Absolutely beautiful. I love to see that. And then the rest of the settings here, I don't have previous model ranges on, but if we turn this on, you guys can see the previous model ranges are drawn here, right? Our low, equilibrium, and then the high, right? So those are also there for you guys. And then my AMRP levels, these are on. My model look back is 6. Here are all my levels and deviations. And these are my labels. My labels are set to small. And we also have a table for AMRP, just so you guys can take a look at the ranges here. This is that right there. Right over here. So this gives you the exact AMRP levels, right? AMR6, this gives you the ranges of our AMRP levels all over here in one table for you guys. So those are my settings. I hope that helps. Of course, of course. Lots of features to this indicator, y'all. Lots of features. Of course. All right. We're kind of stalling out here at this little 0.5 level. I would love to see price trade to this high here. Buy 1409. Let's see if we can tap it. Let's see if we can tap it. This trade was about, how many points is this? 71 points. 71 points. Or is it 71? 79 points if it hits. So this was my original, this is what the trade would be. This is what my entry would be. Now, I didn't enter here just because I follow my rules. I didn't get a trade into here. So I'm not going to trade. I'm not going to take a trade, right? But you could have used this inversion here. And I called it out for you guys. I said there's an inversion here, right? Usually I would enter within those inversions. I'm just personally not logged into any account in here, and to do that I would have had to stop sharing my screen and log in. Again, this high here, we have our deviations. Really great stuff. And our new week opening gap is still up here at the top of that. I'm still looking at that. But Tech Trade, if you can share some pictures there in the cord, that would be great. That would be fantastic. And I need to get you. So Tech Trade is a very. I think Tech Trade. He found out about the DTT trading community in this Discord, and he has been a fantastic trader and also a contributor to our Discord. And we are looking to make him an analyst for stock specifically and crypto. I think he's really good in that area, but he's also fantastic with futures trading. But that guy, he was in here, right? He was in this community, and he's been very active in the DTT trading community, and he's been providing lots of value. So, yeah. Sounds good, Tech Trade. Sounds good, brother. That's weird because Nasman Harris swept. Oh, really? Okay, that's interesting. I've heard that happens sometimes. I know I'm not on the current contract, but give me 1 second here. Okay, yeah, I was checking something, but the current contract I'm pretty sure should reflect this exactly. But I know the NAS 100 is kind of a little different compared to when specific highs and lows are taken, if I'm not mistaken. I've back tested on the NAS 100, but that's interesting though. Thanks for sharing that. I don't know if you can send a picture of that in here, KY. You guys have very great names. I'm not gonna try and pronounce some of them. Okay, I could just say Tej. That sounds good. Yeah, if you can send a picture in that here, that would be great. So I can just kind of see what's going on there. All right. So once we hit this high, I am going to just quickly review the yearly session, and then we are heading near the top of the hour here. I do sadly have to head out in about 15 more minutes, but we could do a quick rundown of the yearly session of once this high is hit. Um, I mean, really really great, delivery here after 1340. I don't like these discounted moves sometimes. They're really irritating, but again, we still were bullish here, and I mentioned the levels to look for if we don't get this high up here, but slowly getting up there. Notice how they're taking their time up until 1409 here. I think they'll take it before, but let's see what happens here. That would be crazy if they wick it back down into here and then leave those highs, but that's why we have time, right? And keep in mind on this move up, okay, I would move my stop. So there we go. We just took that high, beautiful. So I would have moved my stop to here or any one of these fair value gaps as a trailing stop. But there we go. That high was taken out, and thank you for that picture, Tej. That's great. Just showing us that is great because we can kind of see that the NAS 100 took that high, but NQ didn't. Now we just took that high, so maybe that could be an indicator that that high is going to be taken, right? Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. I love your thinking there, but I'm happy that high was taken. Okay, right at 1409. Now I just want to point something out here. Please do hop on the 5-minute and 15-minute. Understand what's going on in the higher time frame. Now, really quickly, what am I expecting at 1409, right? I still want the top of this, okay? But if we don't get a continuation at 1409 and price gives us a little pivot and a reversal, you want to expect this time to be very, very important. And we'll come back to this once we review the yearly session, okay? We'll come back to see what's going on here, but please drop a 1 in the chat if the knowledge here was good and you guys took notes down. Please drop a 1 if you guys enjoyed this knowledge. I want to make sure people are still engaged in here because we are about to go over a couple interesting points here on the higher time frame. Love to see it. I love to see it. A big one. Love to see it, guys. I see a couple people spamming some ones in here, so that's fantastic. Ivan with the gift there. Love to see you, Nine. Love to see you, brother. All right, fantastic. So, I am going to pivot here on the yearly to the yearly session. So, let me make sure that this is all good. So, this is the yearly session here, and I'll show you guys how I mark this specifically. But the yearly session, very important. I just want to point this out. These models are used fractally. Okay, so whatever you see on the lower time frame, these models are very similar to the higher time frame. So this section here would be your model 1001 and 111 combined. Okay, this was the Judas model that we covered. This is model 11 and this is model 110. You guys kind of see where this is going, right? So let me show you guys some really clean sauce here. So this is our hoodwink model. Similar to, we have different names for every single session, but this indicator here is drawing all of the yearly times automatically. Okay, this indicator comes with our 3 other indicators. So with the Quantum membership, you get 4 indicators, more simpler indicators compared to the DTT Pro Plus, and these are all the times that are automatically popped on. So how do we draw these times? We use the fib that I showed you guys prior. I'll show it again. We're grabbing the start of the year, January 2nd, 2025, and we're drawing this fib all the way to the end of the year, which is January 2nd, 2026. So TradingView has a little, limitation with Fibonacci, and these days may be a bit off by 1 or 2 days, which is completely fine. As long as you have these intervals here and majority of them are accurate, you're good to go. So that's the date that we're drawing here. Okay. But what I want to show you guys here for the yearly session, I would love to see if we can take these lows out, right? And I mentioned to the group, I would love to see this low, potentially even these lows, to be taken out by February 12th. But we've been getting a lot of bouncy rubber bandy price action here, just back and forth stuff. Okay. So whenever you have consolidation like this on a specific model, and keep in mind the volatility is very high, but if we take a look at this high and this low, or even this low and this high, we haven't taken either in this session, right? So I'm expecting this model to be pretty explosive. And ideally, I would love for February 12th, okay, to give a move down into this range here and potentially even down here, okay? I mean, right now things are still looking bullish in general on the lower time frame. However, based on this new week opening gap and based on what we do tomorrow and the next day, this is going to be very important because we are aware of all this structure down here and we understand what's going on. So how do we use these models? Again, similarly to the New York session, okay? But I'm going to do a little something here and I want you guys to pay attention. I'm just going to grab the same fib and I'm going to draw a fib just to divide the beginning of this model up. And I'm going to show you guys the settings here. 1125, 36, and 5625. Okay? Now, what are we expecting at every single one of these intervals or these times? So first thing is first, I want to show you guys this beautiful timing here. January 7th. I mentioned to my group, or to the quantum group specifically, in the DTT community, there is a BPR here, okay? I mentioned I wanted to see a trade into this BPR, and on January 7th, I want to see an injection of volatility to take these lows out and even this low out. What happened on January 7th? Injection of volatility, down, and we stopped here, okay? And I'm sure there's some people who can vouch. I've been calling that out. I call these times out because it's just DTT times. It's as simple as that. Next time, January 16th. I mentioned that if price is bullish and wants to trade to back up into this BPR or even this order block here, it should do so at January 16th. Okay? After January 16th, what happens? We get that push up. Now tell me if this is a coincidence or not. Okay? January 27th, our lovely DeepSeek day, right? We pushed up into this order block. Keep in mind, this is where time and price meet. This is a PD array. We tap into that 1, 2 times. Next day, that's our next DTT interval, January 27th. What happened on January 27th? Very random. Injection of volatility. To where? To the downside, to the, essentially a discounted move. A lot of manipulation here. I still would love these lows on the higher time frame. What does the higher time frame provide for us, right? The yearly session allows us to get some really nice swings in. It also gets us to understand what our bias is, right? What's my bias? Where do I want price to trade to? When can I get that injection of volatility that I'm looking for? Very simple, right? We trade back up into this new week opening gap, and then we have another huge new week opening gap we just gapped down on. Now, I'm going to divide this up one time here, and you can most definitely use these times. I would say it's a little, it won't be as accurate as these other times here, but take a look at this day, January 31st, the end of the month there, DTT time, injection of volatility from this new week opening gap right back down to here. Okay? So these times do work. It's not like I'm grabbing every single date here. I'm just drawing these fibs, right? This is all data. This is all math. Okay? Injection of volatility from a BPR down. Okay, we have an injection of volatility up. Then we pivot at January 27th. Okay? Same thing here. Pivot in the new week opening gap. Notice how majority of these times that inject volatility, it's usually when price is meeting a PD array. Okay? Please note that down. When these DTT times inject volatility, it usually will be when price is touching or meeting a PD array, right? In this case here, I was bearish. I wanted to trade into here, and I wanted an injection of volatility to our next target. Okay? Does everybody understand? I hope everybody understands that. Did I make myself clear, or does anybody need a better explanation? Hopefully I was a bit more clear there. Love to hear it. Love to hear it, Rob. Appreciate it. KJB, thank you. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for letting me know. I want to make sure that we're all good to go here. Okay? And so again, as I mentioned, and I'll get rid of these lines here. But I hope that kind of makes sense. I'm going to go to the 4-hour chart here. And ideally what I would love to see happen going into tomorrow, I want to see a setup here right after we fill that. I want to see price go down lower. I want to see these lows here, guys. I want to see these lows be taken out. If we really trade below these lows and close below on the 4-hour, I'm looking for this low, maybe even this low, who knows, to be hit by that February 11th, 10th area, which is right over here. Okay? I just want to point that out. I want to make sure everybody is kind of seeing how I'm using the yearly session there. Okay? So I personally would love to see if we can get a move down lower here. We've been offered a very interesting new week opening gap. We've been offered some imbalances here along the way. I would like to see if we can get a setup to short. Okay. Otherwise, if that setup is completely disrespected, we're going to be looking for ES to hit those all-time highs. We're also going to be looking for NQ to trade up back into this area up here. But order flow is a little bearish here, guys. I'm just going to point that out. We've tapped order blocks multiple times. We've had lots of gap downs here, new week opening gaps. We haven't seen this ever in history, I don't think. Not a gap this large, right? And then we've engineered a ton of sell side. Low, didn't take that low out, right? Right over here. Low here, now another low here. I'm just pointing that out there. Please do look for a trade lower, okay? Or a setup lower. I think that would be fantastic. But little yearly session sauce there. Does anybody have any questions there? Gonna hop back into here to see what 1409 is going to offer us. Thank you, Miles. Appreciate it. But yeah, I mean, I kind of want to point that out. Just on the higher time frame, I love the higher time frame. We've tapped that daily order block multiple times. We traded into the new week opening gap. We traded quickly to actually another new week opening gap here. I mean, beautiful stuff right over here. Very random. Now we're trading into another new week opening gap. So please do point that out. Please do point that out. Thank you, Kaminari. I know I have a little bit of a struggle on keeping them clean because I I have a lot of stuff that I usually pop on, but yeah, I've been trying to keep it a little cleaner and not just a bunch of levels, but I appreciate it. Cool to see the higher time perspective on daily and 4-hour. Yeah, I mean, it's very important, the higher time frame, Jesse. It's very important, but I'm happy you found that interesting with our DTT times as well. But again, a lot more information in our group as well and in the community. Feel free to join the community. We do have a free area as well with resources and videos. So yeah. Please, can you show your analysis on gold? I do have a quick. I do have some time here to go over gold really quickly, and I'll actually do this with I'll actually point out some DTT stuff here, but I mean this is pretty bullish, right? I mean we've seen the moves up. It was not looking good at first, and I believe I went over this with Tech Trade, but I mean we can see silver has been pretty weak, right? It hasn't even taken this high out yet. But of course, I'm looking for price to give that continuation here. And on gold, gold gets, when I say tricky, what do I specifically mean by that? This is where usually we'll have, we touch the high, right? And our February 12th is coming up. So ideally speaking, if prices wants to go higher and silver wants to push higher to these highs, we'd want to see a specific deviation be hit. Okay, and I'm going to specifically use this down close candlestick here. Okay, so our -2 aligns up with that high very nicely. I'm just going to point that out there. Okay, actually, wait, that's not even accurate. There we go. I'm going to use that exact low there. But here, let me see if I can get that accurately. There we go. Let's just use the wick there. It's fine. But you're going to be looking for your -3 and -4, of course, right? And you're going to be looking for those prices to hit by February 12th. I do want to say for gold, be very careful if you are swinging anything. Be very careful for February 12th. You'll definitely see a pivot here. Whether it's seeking a discounted move or maybe even if it's continuing, if price is giving you those options, right, to hold your long, okay, you're looking at higher prices for this. This should continue, okay. So yeah, I totally like that level tech trade that you just mentioned, but also our levels up here, you're looking for that, and you're looking for those to be hit before or by February 12th. I hope that kind of makes sense there. And look at our injection of volatility here. Very random time, the start of the year. Beautiful move up, right? And of course, we can divide this up as well. And you're looking for continuation. But this is an example where, when it's like low, much lower volatility for DTT, you don't have to put these times on. But gold is one that really takes its time sometimes. And we can see that over here with these times. But, yeah. Check on daily with standard deviation 2850 and 880. Are you putting, so I think are you drawing the same deviation here? I need to see what you're talking about specifically because I may be a little off here. Okay, perfect. So yeah, Tech Trade is talking about these levels way up here, right? So we have our 2850 level, right? 2880 level up here between these two. So that I think is going to be very important. But I totally agree with Tech Trade. I think if this does continue, especially after we got this beautiful trade in here today, okay? If we look at the 4-hour as well, on the 4-hour, what you're looking for is you're looking for this next, okay? Here, and then a continuation. Watch this 4-hour order block as well here. Very important. Very, very important. This is a very important area right over here. If you see a deeper retracement, don't panic if it trades into that range there. Okay? I'm just going to leave that on there so I can look at it later. I hope that helped a little bit. Ivy. Hope that helped. All right, guys. It is time for me to wrap it up here. Sadly, I wish I could stay a little bit longer, but I do have to bounce out. Of course, Ivy, of course. But look at that 1409, right? We saw a little retracement here prior to that, so we didn't get that larger reversal, but we did get that injection of volatility to the upside there. And of course, what I'm looking for next, okay? Please mark this in your notes today. I'm looking for 21562, okay? Maybe even 21581 to be met today. And that fills our new week opening gap up here. So please mark those times. And please, please, please be aware of 1447. This is one of my favorite times for Model 11. 1514 and 1545. This actually has confluence with the ICT macro. Okay. Our PM macro there. So, yeah. Much love to you all. Thank you everybody for stopping by in here today. If you guys enjoyed it here today, please do drop a 1 in the chat. I want to see some 1s in here like before. You guys were very, very hyped here today. I really, really love the audience here today. Look at that, beautiful. Much love to you all. Thank you, thank you. Again, if you have any questions, please do ask myself in this Discord, even in our Discord. Please do drop those questions. Do not hesitate. I'm telling you guys right now, asking questions is the biggest thing. I love when people ask questions. So you guys know where to reach out to me. You guys know where to reach out to Ivan. Just tag us in these chats. And if you guys have any more questions, we'll answer them. This recording will be posted. Josh, I think we're going to get that sorted out. I think the team will automatically post that once I put it up on my YouTube. But much love to all of you today. Yes, I can quickly repeat the February date. So the last time I'm looking for is February 12th. Okay, February 11th and 12th. Those two are very important. That's the start of the next yearly model, KJB. That's the start of the next model for the yearly session. Of course, Tej. Appreciate you. We all appreciate you as well here in the DTT community. Thank you, everybody, for stopping by here today. And again, if you have any questions, please do let us know. Much love to you guys. You guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you, everybody.